It is grape season here in Central Florida. And it's not that hard to find them. There's a few things you need to look for. One, you want to look for overgrown areas, something like this. And you look for their leaves. There's several different varieties that grow in Florida. Most of them have a similar leaf. Here's one right now. And there's some grapes that are a little overripe. They're starting to turn into raisins. It's really just the beginning of the season. There's some more grapes. These ones are good and ripe. Most of them I've seen so far this year, over the last few weeks that I've been looking, haven't quite been ripe yet. Now, these are good for eating, but they're not like the commercial grapes. These are a wild grape, so they're tart. They're very tart. Skins are edible, but don't eat the seeds. Spill them out, you'll get more vines. Here's another one. Right here. Its grapes aren't ready yet. Got a few up in there that are real close. And you basically want to look around the edges of wooded areas. In this case, it's on the back of a fence line. But here's a wooded area. And there's another grapevine. These grapes are exceedingly good for your health. They're lower in sugar, a lot lower in sugar than a commercial grape. I haven't managed to actually pull off making grape jelly out of them. I tried that a few years ago and couldn't get it to set. I found out that the standard recipe that I was using didn't apply to muscadine grapes. There's a bunch of them up there on that palm tree. Not really sure exactly why that is with that recipe. So what I generally do with them is I either eat them fresh because they're really good fresh, or I will pick as many as I can and freeze them. Once I get up several gallons of them, I'll juice them out and make wine. They are absolutely awesome at making a good wine. And it's not that hard to find them. They're pretty much everywhere here in Central Florida. Okay. There's another one right there. You can just wander around in areas like this and you will find them. Here's some more grapes. Sometimes it can be rather difficult to access them. If you look out through there, there's a big tangle of them around a whole bunch of stuff. And basically, they run all through that thicket. So if you happen to have pathways, you can get to them. I don't have any pathways through that because that's not my property. That is my cat, though. And he wants attention. He'll follow me when I go walking in the woods. He's a good cat. Best mouser I've ever had. And there's some more grapevines there. While you're walking, you can look for other things when you're looking for the grapes this season. Because something else that happens to come into ripeness this time of year is the American beauty berry. Now, these berries don't really taste all that good. They have almost no flavor at all. But they are very healthy for you. You eat them when they're nice and purple like this. And they do make a pretty decent jam as well. And it's generally not that hard to find and get enough of these to make a jam. So, again, here's grapevines. They just tangle. This whole mass is almost entirely grapevines. There's a couple other vines that grow through it too, so you got to kind of pay attention. More beautyberry poking through. Oh, foraging in Florida can be kind of fun. There's a lot of different things that we can forage, but plant identification is kind of a must. And some plants like to mimic other plants. And you got to kind of watch your feet. We have a lot of snakes here. And it's kind of best to wear jeans because some of these plants will cut you up pretty good. Here's another fun plant. This is our native goldenrod. Great medicinal properties goldenrod has. This is one that for some reason is dead. I think it's because it's already produced. See, it's got seed heads. The whole thing died. This is another edible plant. This is Spanish needle. You use the needles, or use the leaves like you would spinach. Well, there's lots of fun things you can find if you just take the time to go for a walk in the woods. Here's another fun one. That is wild lettuce. It's another plant with great medicinal properties, especially if you happen to have pain problems. More goldenrod. More grapevine. This is a fun plant. This is one of our local mimosas. I don't know if this one will do it. Some of them are more sensitive than others, but this is also a sensitive plant, and touching it will often cause it to close its leaves. This one seems to be pretty slow acting. Others are really fast. Of course, there's always wildflowers. Always some form of wildflower. And there's more grapevine there. We got some ferns. Oh yeah, here's a good one. That right here, this is a type of palmetto, saw palmetto, and there are some saw palmetto berries. There's an industry here for selling those. Helps with prostate problems. Need a lot of them to make any money though. A nice dead tree here. Vines starting to run up it. Oh, there's all kinds of fun things that you can find. You just need to know what you're looking for. There's nothing terribly uncommon that I've shown you here. This is just common stuff that's here. A lot of people can't identify them though. There's some more goldenrod. A couple months ago, we had yellow coneflower all over the place. I guess that season's over with. Next year I'm hoping to get a chance to harvest a decent amount of the yellow coneflower and put it back. And get the roots. You can find other things too if you look and you know what you're looking for. Cassava grows fairly wild and easy in Florida. Sometimes you find that. Other times you find this. Those heart-shaped leaves, that's a yam. Now, you gotta be careful here in Florida because we have what a lot of people call air potatoes. And that's Dioscora bulbifera. And if you eat those, it'll make you sick. This is Dioscora alata. Very close cousin. You can tell by the shape of the leaves, they're much more arrow-like. The root of this one is edible. That right there is a pigeon pea. Let's see. Find anything interesting up in here. Alright, so we got some ferns growing there. And we got some grapevines. More grapevines. Always grapevines around the edges. I've never been up in here, so I don't know what I'll find. So it's a fun little journey. Let's see. We got an oak tree. We got some palm trees. We got a palm bush. Palmetto. There was a fire that came through here. Oh, found some beautyberry. They're not ripe yet. A nice little mound of dirt here. Yeah, pretty good fire. This whole area burned about 8 or 9 years before I moved into this area. There are two stories. The official story from the police at first was that a couple teenagers that lived locally were lighting fires in the woods. And then about a year and a half later, it came out that it was actually one of our local fire department workers that was riding around setting fires. He was arrested. Ironically, it turned out I knew the guy. The first house I ever bought, I had bought from him. It's a pretty nice little area here. Cool place. Lots of biomass, Lots of biomass. I might come in here and harvest some of this. Evidence of that fire everywhere. Looks like a good spot to exit out of here to me. Oh. Whew. So those are a few of the things you can find. You can find blueberries along the edges of these. Bardock, you can find that. You can find wild blackberries. There had been a whole bunch of wild blackberries down along the edge of this canal. But the county mows the edge of this canal. And they do it twice a year. And all the blackberries have slowly disappeared. Got some grapevines appearing. Those will get mowed over too. They manage to get thick enough to clog that mower. It's wet season and our canal is quite dry, which is abnormal. They just put in a new pipe here, and they put it down much lower than it used to be. When this is properly full here, which is normally this time of year, the water comes up to just above that pipe. As you can see, it's barely got a trickle. Here we got some bamboo. Bamboo is very useful. There's some more beautyberry. And you see those red berries up there? Don't eat those. Those are rosary peas. This is what the vine looks like. Rosary pea is extremely deadly. More grapes. Lots of them. Now, a little bit ago I showed you the yam, the Dioscora alata. Here's its poisonous cousin. That is Dioscora bulbifera, or air potato. Now, there are edible varieties of air potato, but in the great wisdom of the University of Florida, when they brought them back to the state, they brought the poisonous ones because they were looking for a medicine. They didn't find a medicine. Well, they did accidentally release an extremely invasive plant in Florida. They recently, as a way to combat that, introduced a fungus and a bug to combat them. See, there's a bunch of them up in there. And there's a bunch of wild grapes. They will completely choke out an area. And these vines are something else. See, those big heart-shaped leaves, that's more air potato. They'll produce a potato-like bauble on it, and when they go dormant, it'll drop and grow new ones. See, this is the work of the beetle that they recently introduced. Come through and start eating holes. Once you start seeing those holes, you know they're doing their work. I'm scared that they might go after my African yams, but so far I haven't seen any evidence of that. Got more bamboo over there. All kinds of stuff. I came down here the other day and there were a bunch of pink spoonbills in the canal. I didn't have my phone with me, so I didn't manage to film them. And here's my cat. He's still following me. Still asking for attention. To go kitty. Alright. Well, I think I'm going to cut it here. You have a good day.